Hello, I'm Judgement. I am hereby proud to finally be able to present the release of my classic WoW Alliance leveling guide. I have been working very hard on this for a long time, and I feel like I have managed to create something very good that could help a lot of people level faster and more effectively. I have tailored this guide for Paladin players as I am a Paladin main myself. I started making this guide because I wanted to improve and fasten my own leveling times to 60, and then I decided to continue and make a real guide out of it when it started to turn out really well. Of course, you don't have to play a Paladin to follow this guide, but the way I handle quests is based upon the strengths and weaknesses of a Paladin. So depending on your class or spec, you may have trouble in some areas or find other areas to be too easy for you while following the guide if you're not playing a Paladin. One thing to note is that Classic WoW is basically a 1.13 Frankenpatch of the original game. This means that there are inconsistencies when it comes to which quests that are available and which are not. But Blizzard has said that they will try to make it as true to the original patch cycle as possible with their content phase system. Two examples of this are Thorium Point and Silitus. Because of the level 40 cap on the Classic Beta, we were not able to confirm whether or not all the quests in Thorium Point that were added later on in patch 1.5, which is essentially content phase 3, are available at launch or not. The quest givers are there, which means that it's possible for the quest to be available, but it's not a guarantee. On the other hand, the bulk of the Silitus quests were added in 1.8, which would be phase 4. The difference here from Thorium Point is that the quest givers does not even exist in the game, so that clearly makes those quests unavailable. On top of that, there are also some other quests in various zones like Tanaris, for example, that were added later on. There are two pirate quests in Tanaris which you can pick up at Steamweedle Port called Pirate Hats Ahoy and South Sea Shakedown. Both these quests were added in 1.8 as well, but in the beta they were available for level 40 players. This contradicts the Silitus situation, which makes me believe that the devs are not doing this 100% accurate and more on a quest-to-quest basis, depending on the impact of the quest and which area they are connected to. If I happen to have added or missed any quest in the guide, I will make sure to keep it updated as I level through the zones after the release. Moving on, I also added some add-on recommendations that will make leveling easier, both for new players and experienced players. There is also a small segment where I talk about the benefits of having a bank alt. Then we have some links to some Paladin talent specs that I think are good choices if you plan to solo leveling and mostly doing quests as a Paladin. So I have 4 different specs there you can choose from, which all are good. And then lastly we have the dungeon recommendations. And these dungeons are great for making up for some missing XP or if you want to avoid longer grinding sessions. And as an addition to the leveling guide, I have made some short and informative dungeon guides for all 5 of the dungeons that I recommend here. These guides are made to maximize the amount of XP you can get from one run, and they try to complete as many quests as possible, and also getting possible weapon upgrades from those dungeons. So definitely check those out if you want. And then we have the leveling guide itself. I separated the guide into 5 chapters. 1 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50 and 50 to 60. I also put an expected/play to each chapter, but they are to be taken with a grain of salt, especially the 40 to 60, since that part haven't been tested on the beta yet, so it could be way off, but it should give you a rough estimation what you could expect if you are leveling fast with minimal interruptions or delays. The guide will also presume that the player who's following it is at least a little bit familiar with the game before starting, because there will not be very detailed descriptions on how to do quests or exactly where to do them, unless I am doing something in a certain way that I don't think is common knowledge. I have also tried to minimize the amount of grinding needed, and for most of the grinding sessions there is an option to do a dungeon run or an elite quest in the area to make up for the grinding XP. But grinding is a part of Classic's leveling experience, and it's almost impossible to avoid it if you're trying to level fast and effective. And if you're trying to speed level with this guide, it's very important that you follow the recommendations of setting your Hearthstone in the designated locations and using it when prompted. The guide will often put you into situations that are really bad if your Hearthstone is on cooldown or in the wrong place. That's gonna cost you a lot of extra time. And lastly, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you will find this guide helpful. I had a lot of fun making it, and I also learned a lot myself. I will of course continue to work on this guide after the Classic release and fix potential errors and add comments to things if I, for example, find out that some quests are super hard or not worth doing because of low drop rates, for example. And if you would like to support me and my work, I have recently set up a Patreon page, which you can find in a link in the description of this video or on top of the guide. And good luck, and I'll see you on the 27th of August on Classic release. Have fun.